Hey everyone, Jeff Risdon here with your daily DLP. It is February 5th. Welcome. Thanks for joining me today. Even though it's the dead middle of winter, off season, there's still a lot of Lion stuff going on. It just keeps on going. I have a very interesting prospect of the day today that is of local appeal for me here in the 616. A lot of folks in the Grand Rapids area know this guy very well. But we got to get into the news, and Dave Burkett of the Free Press broke this. He is out at the Super Bowl. God bless you, Dave, for paying $800 a night for a hotel. But he caught up with Carlton Davis, former Lion, starting cornerback, who is now with the Patriots, doing a decent job with New England. He sort of grew into it, did not start the season very well, but it has perked up as the season has gone on and has played very well in the playoffs, especially when CJ Stroud decided to throw him the ball a lot. But Davis basically came out and said he would have signed in Detroit, and it wasn't a money issue. It was a deal. It was something that he struggled with, was the structure of the deal. So let's go to what he did, and I'm going to read. So those of you watching, you're going to see my eyes. I'm reading this. Davis signed a 3-year, $54 million contract with 34.5 guaranteed. So that's what Davis got. The Lions, after Davis decided to move on, they signed DJ Reed. 3 years, $48 million with $32 million guaranteed. So $6 million more Davis got from the Patriots and $2.5 million more guaranteed. That's fairly commensurate, and like that's good market value for both of those players, honestly. And Reed was off to a very good start in Detroit. Unfortunately, he got injured. He popped the hamstring, and when he came back, he wasn't the same dude yet. I do expect him to be a very good starter in 2026. That nothing in his background ever says that he's been anything but that. And he and Terrion are a fine starting cornerback duo. Are there better ones in the NFL? Yes. Can you win with these guys? Yes, you can, especially in the style of defense that the Lions play. So I'm not down on DJ Reed at all. But it's interesting that Davis talked about the structure of the contract being a dissuasion for re-signing in Detroit. And the only thing that really stands out, because the money, if it was equal, is the use of void years. And I'll look at Davis's contract in New England. $16.5 million signing bonus, but it's a 3-year contract. He earned $5 million in base salary in 2025, the first year of the contract. Had just regular workout bonuses, but they didn't put any void years on it. So it's 3-year contract. Reed with Detroit, and this is something that the Lions do a lot under Mike Disner. 3 years, $48 million. The signing bonus was $15.2 million. But there is the but here. There are 3 void years on this contract. It technically runs through 2031. And what that means is that he's a lot easier to cut after the second year, whereas Davis isn't that way. He's going to get 3 years. Like they can renegotiate or extend, and he is a little bit older too, so that makes a bit of a difference. But he didn't want the void years. It's pretty clear. And why would that be a dissuasion for him? A couple of things. Number one, it does give you less immediate cash payout in your first season, and that would matter if you're an older player that's looking to cash in. And second, it also sort of hurts your flexibility down the road, because if the Lions want to get rid of it or renegotiate, he's not necessarily in a position of strength at that point. There's much more leverage on the player side if you're actually going into free agency. Like I know the void years are void. They don't exist. But there is something with the team like there's an obligation to pay those whether the player is there or not. And that's not something that Reed wants. And that's an interesting wrinkle because that hasn't been something that's been a big deal yet. And I can't think of anything else that it would be other than maybe workout bonuses, which, okay, those are minutia in contracts, but that is something that bears watching as the Lions continue to, thrust these void years on every contract. And you're going to see them when they extend Sam Laporta. He's going to have 2 or 3 void years on the contract. That's just what they do. It's interesting that Davis sort of bristled up against that. And I can't think of anything else that it would be. He didn't elaborate to Burkett on what it was. And I do want to read the quote from it because this is, this sort of explains Davis, who is a very straight up guy. His first interview that he did with publicly in Detroit, I wound up asking him like half the questions because I was one of the few people there who was paying attention to him because I think Goff or JMO was speaking at the other podium. But he said this, and I'm going to quote here. I love Detroit. Before the season started, I was rooting for those guys as far as I like them making it back to the playoffs. I still get a lot of close relationships with the team. Even like how it went with free agency with us and Brad and Dan, it was like a straight up process. It wasn't no bullshit around it. It was good conversation, good communication. So I got nothing bad to say about them. That's interesting. He clearly didn't have any issues, and I'm going to take him at his word. That means that it was probably the agent on that side pushing back or being the resistance against. It's got to be I can't think of anything else that it would be other than the void years, and that. I'll be straight up. I don't really understand why that's such a big deal, but apparently that's something that is going to have to be dealt with as the Lions roll forward, and they continue to try to put these void years on everything. I got to get to more NFL general news. It came out as Chris and I were recording last night. By the way, thanks for everybody who joined in. That was a fun show. Doing that on a Wednesday night, getting back into the groove of it. Doing the regular weekly shows. We're going to try to get back on schedule with that a little bit better. But it came out right at the end that Ole Miss quarterback Trinidad Chambliss had his waiver appeal for a 6th year of eligibility denied by the NCAA. Now that there's still a court case, a state court case in Mississippi pending. I believe it gets adjudicated next week. Can't speak today. Need more coffee. That's the way we roll. Where he's suing for a temporary injunction that would allow him to play. But right now, it looks like he's going to be in the draft. And it stems back to his time at Ferris State. He missed, so he redshirted, like regular redshirt, his freshman year, which was 2021. The 2022 season, he didn't play. He didn't even practice because he had a respiratory issue. And he has been trying to get that as a medical redshirt waiver. I know he's done a lot of contact with Ferris State where he was playing football there. And the NCAA has said no repeatedly on this. I don't think it's going to hold up for him in court, but who knows? Who knows with the legal system that we've got these days, what's going to come out of it. But it now appears that Trinidad Chambliss, the quarterback from Mississippi, from Forest Hills Northern High School here in Grand Rapids, is going to the NFL draft. And that makes him, today's prospect of the day. Let me pull up Trinidad here. I love those Ole Miss uniforms. Those are sweet. So Trinidad played 1 year at Ole Miss after playing 2 years as Ferris State's primary starting quarterback at the D2 level. Ferris State, if they are the D2 reigning champs, and he won a title there as well, leading them in 2024. Ferris State rotates quarterbacks. They bring in different guys at times, but he was their primary guy, and boy, he was good. Excuse me. Fun, dual threat athlete. Very, Excuse me. I record these live. I hate editing video, so you get a little hoarse there. Sorry about that. Can run, can throw, gets outside the pocket, makes things happen, has a very good arm. Let me pull up the pros and cons for him for those of you watching on things. And this is basically my early report on Trinidad, assuming that he is going to the NFL. Listed at 6'1", 200. There's a lot of people that diss the fact that he's 6'1". I doubt he's 6'1". He is definitely 6 feet, and I will say that because I've met him in person. I've talked to him. I've shaken his hand. He is not 5'10". He is a legit 6 foot, folks. 200 might be where the fudge comes in a little bit. He probably 190-ish, 195-ish. So he is on the smaller side of things. He is bigger than he's Baker Mayfield without about 15 pounds. He is a little bit taller than Malik Willis and about the same weight. That's sort of the player that you're getting in terms of body structure there, and height. What he does well, and these are tweaked for the Lions. He's a ridiculous play-action pass guy. If you've watched Jared Goff, watch the Lions offense under Dan Campbell, what do they do very well? What do they rely on? A lot of play action. Trinidad is ridiculously good at it. He's got an incredible play action fake. He understands where to go with the ball coming out of the play action. He understands how the defense is going to react to that. Really, really good at that. Excellent ball placement, especially on quicker intermediate throws. Again, what does the Lions offense like to do? Hit Amon-Ra as he breaks. Jared Goff throws it before he breaks. It's right there. Trinidad can do that. Anticipatory throws. He's very good at those. The dual threat is something that is very different from Jared Goff and from the Lions offense for that matter. He can run. He can fly. He can create in the open field. He can make guys miss in space. That is not something that the Lions have had at quarterback since, I don't know, Mike McMahon. Basically, that wasn't Stafford's thing. Wasn't Kitna's thing. Dante Culpepper just sort of ran people over. Trinidad is a very lithe athlete out in space. Has a very good arm. It is not the best in class, but it's up there. And in a weak quarterback class, I expect him to be pretty coveted. Again, assuming he gets in. He still has the court case next week, but he does take shots. He will try to fit the ball into tight windows, especially in the red zone. He will throw the ball deep and over the top. He's good at it. Go back and watch their bowl game, the CFP game against Georgia. There's other games as well where he just very fun player to watch. And the last one is something that I know personally from Trinidad. Exceptional leadership. This is a guy that, like the old cliche, you'd want your daughter to marry him. He's that kind of a guy. Very positive, very uplifting type of teammate, encouraging, gets it. 0-star recruit. And I'm going to pull this up because this is how I know Trinidad. He was a high school basketball player. Pretty good one, too, at Forest Hills Northern High School. When my son was a freshman at Zeeland East, we played Forest Hills Northern in a regional final. And he led a ridiculous comeback that wiped out a fantastic Chicks team. We were ahead 18-1 in that game. And Trinidad and a couple other guys who wound up playing college basketball spearheaded that. The poise, the unflappable leadership. That's who he was. And he actually wanted to play college basketball, but he was deemed a little bit too small for that. So he went and played football at Ferris State, which is from where he went to high school, 45 minutes up the road. Again, grew a little bit, filled out his frame a little bit, but, just a great great college football player, and an easy kid to root for. And there are drawbacks. The size, obviously, and specifically working in the pocket in the middle of the field. Now, that is where Jared Goff is at his best. That's not where Trinidad wins. So as far as looking for a backup quarterback with developmental upside in the current Lions offense, he might not be the best fit. You'd have to tweak some things to have him in. Like, this is one of those where if you're drafting him, he can't necessarily run that style of Jared Goff offense. You'd have to change things up if you brought your backup in, which the Lions have done a little bit of that. I mean, Hendon Hooker wasn't exactly the same as Jared Goff. Kyle Allen isn't totally that way either, so they're not like wedded to having it. But that's a philosophical discussion that you have to have as a franchise. Do you want a guy who comes in who can do the exact same thing and run the exact same offense? Or do you want what Drew Petzing had in Arizona, where they had Kyler Murray, who's kind of similar to Trinidad. Trinidad reminds me more of Russell Wilson or actually Jackson Dart a little bit, not to go with the Ole Miss thing. And then the backup was Jacoby Brissett, who is a immobile pocket passer with a big arm down the field. Very different from Kyler. So maybe Petzing would be more open to that. I don't know. That's one that we're going to find out on. Did just have 1 year of D1 play, albeit very good. He finished in the top 10 in the Heisman voting. Probably should have been higher. SEC defenses, he did a great job against them. 22 touchdowns, I believe, was 3 interceptions. It wasn't a Lane Kiffin offense. Hopefully Dart has killed some of the stigma against that. For a long time, there's been like, oh, Lane Kiffin quarterbacks don't work in the NFL. Well, that's sort of fading away a little bit, I hope. But it is kind of a gimmicky offense. And one of the reasons is because they don't have their quarterbacks do pre-snap reads. Everything's signaled into them from the side. And that's where this pre-snap read experience is limited. That's what I'm talking about there. He's not reading the defense. He is looking to the sideline, and they're telling him what they see. It doesn't mean that he can't do it. It just means that he hasn't done it, and not at a high level anyways. So that is one to work at. The biggest thing that shows out on game tape, he does stare down his primary read. And again, some of that might be the fact that he hasn't had all that much experience at reading the entire field. I like him a lot. I like him more than I like Ty Simpson. Now, we're getting into an area here, though, where, the Lions have kind of stated that they're not super interested in a quarterback, but I do want to cover Trinidad just as somebody that, because there is going to be debates. Are the Lions going to take a quarterback? Are they going to get a developmental guy? Who's the best one? Trinidad would certainly be it, but I think he's going in the first or second round, and that's way too early for the Lions to entertain. It's not a great year to need that style of developmental type of backup. For Jared Goff, if you're going to get a guy in the later rounds, a couple of guys that I like, Altmaier from Illinois stands out for me as a 7th round guy, 6th, 7th round, who can fill that role and do some of the things that Goff can, while also having some mobility. I don't know. We'll get deeper into the quarterbacks on that, but I just wanted to hit up Trinidad because he's in the news, and I like him. I like him a lot. He's probably going to be QB2 over Ty Simpson for me. And Nussmeier, just no. Yeah. So with that, we'll call it a day. Thanks for tuning in to the Daily DLP. I am Jeff Risdon. Be good to one another out there.